Hello, welcome to the next lesson of Heal-2-Feel. In today's lesson, we are going to understand how different emotions lead to a triggered chain of complex physiological changes which we associate with emotions. However, if such an emotion is persisting in our body, then these physiological changes also persist and they become lifestyle disorders. So, let's go. Very first step in this process is an emotional trigger. It could be an event, it could be a memory, or an experience of a certain threshold which triggers an emotional response in your brain. For example, you're meeting a loved one after a long time, or someone cut you off in traffic, or you're missing someone who has died in the recent past. All of this can be considered as an emotional trigger. Some people have this trigger at a very low threshold. For example, a movie going on and you see an emotional scene. Your emotional trigger can be stimulated. For some people, it is of real high threshold that someone close to them dying can still keep them stable and can still not trigger an emotional response because they understand, they have given a reason to themselves that that person had to go for XYZ reasons. Once the emotional response is received by the brain, it gets processed in the part of the brain called as limbic system, the emotional processor. The first part of the limbic system called as amygdala receives this emotional response and then decides on whether how urgent the response is or how intensified the response is. From the amygdala, the response reaches the hypothalamus. It's a part of the limbic system which is kind of like an interconnection in between the nervous system and the endocrine glands. The endocrine glands are responsible for releasing the hormones. Next important step of the emotion processing is hormone release. This happens when the pituitary gland, a very important gland of endocrine system, gets the signal from hypothalamus. That releases the necessary hormone to sufficiently produce the next physical response. For example, in case of stress, there is a release of adrenaline, cortisol. In case of happiness, there are happy hormones or feel-good hormones releasing, called as dopamines and endorphins. If there is sad feeling, sad emotional response, then there is a release of corticotrophin releasing hormone and cortisol. Release of stress hormone prepares the body for fight or flight response, which means increased heart rate, increased breathing rate, increased blood pressure, increased blood sugar levels, muscle tension relationship increases, which means that the body is preparing for its defense. Happy hormone release leads to relaxation, elevated mood, good digestion, good sleep pattern, good energy levels. Basically, your entire body is saying, I'm happy to do whatever you want me to do. While on the other side, a sad emotion leads to improper digestion, improper sleep pattern, low energy levels. You're basically not wanting to do anything. You feel fatigued, you feel deprived of many things in life, but motivation for the majority, and you just withdraw from everything. So these two are actually working opposite. Now that we have understood how these hormones play as a key to so many expressions, so many physical changes that we have in our body, think about it. If this hormone release is happening constantly, every single day, every single moment, because of every small nudge or trigger that we are having, how much of an impact our physiological self will have. Think about if a person is in stress continuously for maybe 2 days. For 2 days, they have had high blood pressure, high heart rate, high blood sugar levels. They're just tensed all the time. They're not sleeping well. They are not eating well. Think about how their physiological self will be. It's not overstated when we say that stress is the killer for you. Of course, when the stress is there, then only you can manage it. If there is no stress, there is no stress management. So you have to learn to manage stress while it exists. And the very important, very easy thing that you can do to manage stress is just start moving your body. If you don't have even that kind of possibility, start breathing, deep breathing. Have a glass of water. Talk to people who make you usually happy. Make that effort. Come out of that stressful scenario. And if you can, then do a good physical workout. It will sweat you out, it will get your heart rate managed, blood pressure managed, will get you a very nice feeling that you have worked out on your body. Of course, the task that was at hand still exists, but you are ready to manage it because you are more stronger than you were before. What do you say?